Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased, except ours. I'm Colin,
I am Craig.
and we don't have that other guy with us this week, but that's okay. We're going to be talking about the Pirates of the Caribbean, the original trilogy, the Jerry Bruckheimer produced ones.
They produced all of them.
Yeah, but I was just saying Jerry Bruckheimer produced, he's the producer. He did National Treasure, produced a lot of Michael Bay films. Whatever the case may be, uh, I feel like these movies, especially after seeing the last one, it feels like a kind of an end of these practical, big budgeted Hollywood movies because
Adventure
everything,
movies.
yeah, everything is just pure CGI. And these movies, they actually built a lot of stuff. So very surprising and interesting to see that rewatching them.
I mean, I'm just the CGI. Like that's good too. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
take.
it really holds up, especially in the second one. The third
Yes.
one looked a little wonky, but the second one,
You're talking about the CGI or just the story?
oh, the CGI, the CGI.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well then let's get right into it with the first one. Came out 2003. Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Why don't you give a quick synopsis of this one, Craig?
Yeah. Well, before I do, I just want
Oh,
to say because this movie was made obviously after the ride at Disneyland or Disney World.
Disneyland, probably.
Yeah, yeah, it was probably Disneyland, but this is one of those things like with the Karate Kid or the Cobra Kai reboot. Like when someone were to tell me, like if I'm an executive and they say, "Oh, let's make a movie about the Pirates of the Caribbean ride," like, what are you talking? Are you high? Like, who would think that's a good idea? But
Yeah, because it's a theme park ride. There's no linear story you could adapt.
but I,
It's wholly original. It's probably Pirates of the Caribbean in name only. That's the only relation.
and they have the song, but like I think
Oh
that's what
yeah.
might have worked to its benefit. The fact there's like nothing to base on except for the fact that it's pirates in the Caribbean, which isn't that
And
specific really.
the pirates are also toned down to or at least they're toned down to what real pirates were like, where they were terrible people who would kill, murder, and pillage. So,
That's a minor criticism of like all three movies, but that's
well, it's Disney. If you are expecting a realistic portrayal of pirates, you'd probably go on the History Channel.
well, it's more along the lines of they try to portray them as like misunderstood but good people when
Oh
they're really
yeah,
not good
little
people.
tone deaf, I guess, in that regard.
I mean, I know it's a movie, it's entertaining. It doesn't bother it or ruin it that much. It's just I feel like by the third one it becomes a little silly.
Yes, definitely.
But the synopsis.
Yes.
So Jack Sparrow, he's trying to get back the Black Pearl. That's essentially all he really wants to do in this movie. He runs into Will Turner, who wants to save his love interest, Elizabeth Swann, because she gets captured because the one who stole Jack's ship, Captain Barbossa, trying to undo a curse by having her last golden piece. So they're all, they're all like fighting each other, trying to accomplish their goals. And they eventually, Jack gets his ship back, Will gets the girl, and Elizabeth, I guess she just comes home safely.
You're forgetting the part where in the beginning when it starts off in the beginning as a like 10 years before where they find a young Will Turner afloat.
Well, you told me a quick
Oh, you
synopsis.
know what? You're right. But one thing I did forget about this movie, because out of the trilogy, this is the one I watched the second most, or I rewatched. I forgot that they needed, for the Aztec gold, they needed the blood of a pure pirate. And it's not like it's something in your DNA, it's a choice you make to be a pirate. I thought that was a little silly, but it's what it
I
didn't
thought they
ruin
just
it for me. I thought that was a little silly.
wait for the when they return the gold.
Yeah, they need the
I
blood
thought
of a pirate.
I thought they just needed the bootstrap bill because he stole it, but then they
Oh,
got rid
was
of
that
him.
it then?
That's what I thought it was. 'Cause
Oh,
that's what
you
it.
might be right then.
Yeah, because they thought Elizabeth was his daughter,
Yeah,
so
because
she
he
would have
said
been fine.
Elizabeth Turner.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're probably right. All right, disregard what I just said.
Yeah, because then that's why they got rid of old Bootstrap Bill. I just like I realized how terrible what they did to him was.
The bootstrap?
Yeah, like because he couldn't die, so he because they tied him to a cannon, and they sunk him to the bottom of the ocean. He's just sitting there for like however long he was there, underwater, I guess drowning. The pressure of all the water under him, tied to a cannon, not being able to escape. That's really bad.
Yeah. I mean, since I haven't seen this one in a while, I was always under the impression with Bootstrap that he died underwater, but he never died. That's why he
Yeah,
went to Davy Jones to escape that.
it's hard to blame him. It's a
Pressure of
pretty
yeah. I mean the crew first off, they're all terrible. They had a mutiny and they got rid of Jack Sparrow.
because he wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, they got rid of him. They threw him on an island. And again, one thing, I mean, I guess I saw this as a kid when it came out. I was a child. I was stupid enough to believe that Jack Sparrow actually escaped by sea turtle strapped to his feet. Even though it completely went over my head, that was dumb luck how he got out of there. Where he drank all the rum on the island and was drunk, and then they came back for like the to restock, and then they just took him off the island. The rum runners, whatever that was.
Yeah, the illegal whatever.
Yeah, I was that dumb where I didn't realize he was just
Yeah,
alive.
but how old were you? Like you were young, so
Yeah, but still, I don't know. It's a little thing that I was like, oh yeah, he was a liar.
That's just him too. Like Mr. Gibbs is complicit, or unless he's just that naive too.
No, I
Because
think he's that naive because when Will said to him, "How did he where'd he get the rope from?" And he kind of was like lost in thought. He's like, wait a minute.
yeah, yeah. Wait a minute, is the hair on his back? Like, who has hair that long?
Yeah, I think we have to talk about the introduction of Jack Sparrow because
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind of the antithesis of his character, where he's some goofy pirate, where he shows up into Port Royal in a sinking tiny little dinghy boat.
it's such a great shot because like it's played seriously, but like also a joke too.
Yeah, and the music is like so heroic and serious as he's coming into the Port Royal Bay, and then it just sinks and he just steps on the dock, all in complete stride.
Like I said, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, but at the same time, everything seems to work out, so he kind of has an idea of what he's doing.
Yeah, that's the incredible thing that you realize when you're watching the trilogy is how in control Jack Sparrow is of the situation all the time. Where he always has a backup plan, and he has a backup plan to his backup plan.
Yeah,
He's like
like
a
he's
plotter. He's always thinking. He's always thinking ahead.
Yeah, because you would think like of a typical pirate, they'd be like a dumb brute or like a Will Turner, where not that he's a dumb brute, but like he's the action hero, doing like swinging across the rope, willing to like fight people. While Jack's the opposite. He wants to talk, scheme, and try to negotiate out of everything,
Yeah, he's a schemer.
which I really feel like helps elevate the film because like there's not really like action heroes, quote unquote, like Jack Sparrow, like the guys willing to negotiate his way out of anything and talk his way out. Because there's so many times in the movie where he's about to get killed or something bad could happen, but he always talks his way out of it. Like every time like Barbossa's about to do something, he goes, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And he had like he rolls. I was like, "Oh my God, what is it?" He knows something.
Well, everyone in the movie, or at least in the trilogy too, they'd always say like, "Well, you can't talk your way out of this one, Jack," or "You trying to talk your way out of it was the reason why we mutinied you." He's not Mister, Johnny Swashbuckler is going to punch you in the face and be that kind of hero. He's mischievous. He's a schemer, and he knows how to get himself out of situations.
Like even for like the moment he met Will Turner, learned his name, he immediately was scheming how to use him to get revenge.
Well, he uses him in all the movies.
Yeah, really, yeah, really. Like every movie, he's always finding ways to like manipulate him and trick him. He falls for it every time.
It's like,
Even the third one.
yeah, looking back on it, it's like I don't think Jack Sparrow liked Will Turner at all. He just tolerated him so he could use him.
I think the reason he saved him at the end of the third one, I guess, looking ahead, is because he liked Elizabeth more than like Will Turner.
But let's talk about some of the characters in this movie too. In the
Yeah,
first
'cause,
one.
yeah, because Jack, he's the most famous one. Like, he's really not able to carry a movie. I feel like it's the entire cast what helps the movie too. I mean, he's great too, but like, I feel like they have such a strong cast for this
They
movie.
all kind of, especially the crew, they all feed off of each other. Like Mr. Gibbs,
I
even
love Mr.
Barbosa,
Gibbs.
even Barbosa with Sparrow too.
Yeah, the banter that they have, and again, like for Barbosa, like he's not, although he's a pirate, he's not like vindictive or over the top evil. He just wants to, I guess, regain his humanity in a sense.
Yeah, they want to lift the curse that's been brought upon them with the Aztec gold.
And then that's it. I mean, it's such a simple thing. Like, I just want to get rid of the curse. Like when he was telling Elizabeth, like, I feel nothing. Like he's like, I'm hunger, but I can't taste the food. I drink water, but it doesn't quench my thirst.
Yeah, that must have been terrifying for her to witness that. Him step into the sun and then, or no, in the moonlight, and then him drink that and to see it. Ugh.
Like she stabs him too, and then like you're like laughing, like that's not gonna do anything.
And also with Sparrow, I'm just gonna call him Jack. With him, he carries that one pistol for him, and he has morality. Sparrow. That's what kind of separates him from the other pirates. Where he kept on saying to Will, he pulled the gun on him. He's like, "This is not meant for you."
Yeah, that was definitely one of like rewatching, like one of my favorite lines in the movie because not a bad person, but he really wants his revenge and wants his shit back.
Yeah, that's all he cares about. He just wants the Black Pearl.
That was the thing too. I didn't realize, I guess, rewatching how long the mutiny happened or how long ago it happened. Like it was 10 years. I always thought, when we watched it growing up, I thought it was like, 5 years max. I didn't realize it was 10 years without a ship. Like he really was holding out revenge for that.
Yeah, poor guy. Let's talk about James Norrington, who, upon rewatching the trilogy, I actually kind of like Norrington. He was just doing his job, and then he gets thrusted into this horrible situation.
Yeah, if anything, he kind of like gets a bad end of the stick there because like you're just doing his job and essentially, Elizabeth leaves him, he loses his ship, and
Elizabeth doesn't just leave him; she like manipulates him too.
yeah, because again, there's nothing really wrong with him. I mean, I guess maybe creeping on Elizabeth, but
Yeah,
that's more common for the
a
time.
little odd in the beginning where she's a child and he looks the same, except he had like a different powdered wig.
'Cause, I
And
mean, I guess that's how it was back then. You wanted to keep, marrying elite people. He was a Commodore, that's very prestigious and all that stuff, but I always feel like if you know somebody, like if you know them growing up and then you want to date them, that's weird. But I think it's more common back then, so
it was the
whatever.
1700s, I think. The movies take place in.
Yeah, I just look up too because they never really said like a year. I think it takes place in
Well,
1720.
yeah, because in the second one they make, or the third one they make a reference to King George the second, or one of the King Georges. I don't know. They made a reference to one of them.
Oh yeah, because yeah, I think it was
I think it was the
second.
second.
And the third was Revolutionary War, right?
Whatever the case may be. Uh,
I'm not British.
yeah, obviously. What other characters could we talk about?
Will Turner. I mean, he's I
Oh
guess the
yeah, yeah,
blandest one in a way,
yeah. He's just like I have to save my love interest.
which is kind of
Honestly,
funny because I thought he was the blandest in Lord of the Rings too.
oh, it just might be his acting. Rewatching this, and I know I keep saying this, rewatching it, because for context, I have not seen these movies in such a long time. He was the character I probably liked the least out of everybody. I found him to be the most annoying and whiny.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I never thought he got to that point of being like annoying, but like he was definitely like the least favorite, like not the one you'd want to watch on screen because he
Yeah,
was really just like the action hero.
yeah. I mean, he was the most. I was able to tolerate him. I didn't mind him in the first one. The second one, he kind of got a little annoying, and then the third one, I did not like him.
Yeah, especially by the third one.
But
'Cause even like Elizabeth, like she was never that annoying.
and it seemed like they, for sometimes, I mean, we'll talk about this later because this is about the other movies, not this one. Of course, you have to talk about where some of the lines too in this movie are just iconic. Where he says when Norrington first meets Jack, and he's like, "You are without a doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of."
But that whole scene is great too. Like a compass doesn't point north. You only got one shot for your gun.
And then his sword, I half expected it to be made of wood. Such
You
great witty banter between them. And of course, Sparrow says, "But you have heard of me."
Oh yeah, like he's got like his like I mean like comedy gold, like his like just Jackism, like the way he like over talks, like say something and like you don't know what he's saying half the time because you get lost all
He's
the
using like a lot of what's the term, like double negatives, where he's
yeah.
saying like "I don't not." He talks like that, where to a simpleton it'd be confusing to what he's saying. Then you're like,
Because
wait a
most
minute.
pirates were
Yeah,
simpletons.
you're like, wait a minute, what is he really saying?
Or like at the end of the movie where he's like, "Yeah, I can always count on me to be dishonest. It's the honest ones you got to look out for, because you can always honestly count on them to be dishonest." Or something like something over the top and crazy. He's always said.
And of course, the ending where he always says like, "This is the day you almost caught," and he just falls back off
It looks like he
off the
almost
cliff.
died.
I mean, realistically, he would have been killed, but
Or was it two? And Barbosa goes, "You better start believing in ghost stories. You're in one."
I thought that one scene also when the or not Commodore, when Norrington and his
He
crew
was a Commodore.
was he a Commodore then?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because he was, yeah, because then that's when he was promoted. When they're about to come to Isla de Muertas, and then the crew go underwater, and then they walk into the moonlight underwater. That was really cool. Like all the skeletons, you remember?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. Well, you weren't saying
Yeah,
anything.
good. Well, no, because I was just letting it go. Because then
Oh.
Jack was trying to trick. He was playing both sides, trying to get Barbosa's crew out there to get attacked, but also trying to get rid of Norrington so he could escape.
Yeah, he's really good at playing both sides, and then it always works out to his favor too. And
Again,
it's
because
so
you
slick too when he took a he was when he was counting the gold in front of Barbosa, he snuck one.
yeah, it's because you knew I could die because I'm gonna fight some guy who can't die, so I might as well take a piece of gold and secure myself,
Yeah, and then he like
save my.
he when they're fighting, he cuts his own hand with his own blood, throws it to Will, and then shoots Barbosa. So slick.
We were like too with that in that fight where we're both like, "Why are we doing this? Like we're locked in eternal combat. Like there's no way to do it." And I think he like hits him and they still fight.
Yeah, he's just trying to distract him. They
He's
don't
very
make movies like this anymore, which is really sad.
yeah,
Movies
because
that are just pure fun.
that's the thing too. When I was watching this, like, although it was fun, it's almost like a sadness watching this because you know nothing else ever gets made anymore. Like a very like historical fun movie that really kind of engross you in the time period and the adventure. That's what I feel like all these adventure movies kind of need. Like they need to like engross you in the time period, make you feel like you live. Like all the pirates are gross. Like they're all, like got like dirt and mud all over them.
Yeah,
The
I guess we
ships
should
feel
talk about
real.
the makeup too, because some people would wear contacts for to have that yellow tinge to their eyes, like
Like Barbosa.
yeah, they even Pinto.
Yeah, I never knew their names. I always remember
It's
like
like
those two of
Rigetti
them.
and Pinto.
Yeah.
The fake teeth, like they did such a good job of immersing you into this disgusting world that no one would want to live in unless you were unfortunately born during there.
Like even if you were a pirate, you wouldn't want to live in there because like you had a very short life expectancy. You probably would have died from like a number of diseases or just like scurvy, or being killed by the Royal Navy or some country's navy, or betrayed.
Or thrown on an island. Because I looked that up. Pirates would actually, for mutiny, they would actually maroon you on an island.
I mean, it makes sense. If you're willing to mutiny once, why might as well get rid of you?
Yeah. And I don't think there was a real, I'm not a historical guy, but I don't think there was any pirate codes. I don't think they had that amongst each other.
I don't think so either, but like that's why I feel like again this like the other two movies, especially the third one, it gets a little wacky with that kind of stuff. Like this was more like a joke kind of like the pirate guy. That's like everyone was like annoyed by it until finally Ross like first off, you're not a pirate, and two, the more like guidelines, not
Yeah.
actual rules. I guess ways you should act, but it's not
And
like
you could
a
say
law.
parlay to them, and then they'll take you to your captain to negotiate. I think they would have just like stabbed you and killed you right there. Because even Jack Sparrow got out of a situation when he couldn't pronounce parlay
Oh yeah.
until Ragetti said it for him. Uh, like just struggling. Um, and I guess I mean I told you this joke already. I'm gonna say it anyway. Amber Heard had a cameo in this movie, and she slapped Johnny Depp when they're in Port Royal when he was with Will Turner.
Yes, yes. Little unknown fact. That wasn't
It was
scripted
her. It
either.
was her. Yeah, it was her first appearance in a film, and she only got that role because of Johnny Depp.
And it wasn't scripted either. She was supposed to give some dialogue with like, how they met back in Singapore, but she just went and slapped him for no reason. I mean,
Yeah,
real commitment to the role.
and his character said, "I'm not sure if I deserve that."
And she wrote in the Tortuga Times about, him abusing her and all that stuff.
So this movie, at least, it's probably the objectively, it's probably the best Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I didn't really have much more to say. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, because again, I haven't seen it in probably over a decade, if I'm being honest. At least this one, I have not seen in such a long time.
Yeah, like I've again, like 'cause, I mean, these are fun movies, but like it's something gets lost to time because I feel like with the newer ones that came out, it's like I don't know, I don't want to watch them, and it's kind of like always sours it. But like watching and you realize how good the original is, you can see why there's like five entries to the franchise.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ratings. It has an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb and an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, the
Yeah, I
first
get,
one is pretty good. I would recommend it.
yeah, just like those kinds of action movies they don't make anymore.
Yeah,
It's a shame.
it's a lot of fun, and I guess that's all you can. But when I say fun, it's not like those shills who say like, "Oh, just to enjoy this movie and enjoy it, have fun." Like this one is fun, and it's not annoying. It doesn't insult your intelligence. There's no nostalgia. I guess we should say that also, since this is when Disney wasn't hyper focused on nostalgia. This
It
is
was
when Disney
before the
was
Star Wars acquisition.
yeah. This was when Disney was good. So I guess we should preface that.
I mean, the movie was good, like, there's nothing else. And another thing too, like, a lot of movies now, they tend to play these kinds of things cynically, where they always, like, make meta references and make jokes for the audience. There's none of that, which I like. I hate all these meta references now. Everyone's like, oh, we got to, thank God they don't turn our lives into, like, a theme park ride, or some stupid joke they
Uh,
would make.
yeah. Oh man. No,
Because, like, I hate that kind of stuff that's always in movies. They got to play everything cynically. Like, isn't it kind of silly that we're pirates in the Caribbean? Like, it's I don't know. I get tired of hearing about those kinds of stuff.
yeah, that's understandable. And I guess quickly we should mention also that Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, or Russo, I think it's Terry. That doesn't matter. Those two
Rossio?
writers, they co-wrote Shrek, first Shrek movie,
Huh.
and they wrote all of these movies. And I think Terry Rossio, he co-wrote the story for Godzilla vs Kong,
Oh, so I
and
guess, swing and a miss.
Terry Rossio and Ted Elliott wrote a script for a Godzilla movie in 1994 before it got taken away to Roland Emmerich.
It's very, I guess, roller coaster career.
Yeah, very interesting. So let's get to the second parts of the
Wait,
Caribbean movie.
actually, there's
Oh,
one more thing I wanted to mention.
oh,
Like another thing I found funny in this one. When the dead crew is attacking the Captain Norrington ship, and then the governor, after like they're done, their curse lifted, he comes out like he's like celebrating with the crew and he pretends to fight the the dead pirate or the captured pirates. I thought that was funny. All right, go on.
okay. Yeah, shut up. The second Pirates of the Caribbean movie is called Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. It came out in 2006, and I saw this in the theaters. I remember seeing it.
I think I think all three of us saw it together, right?
I don't think we were with Daniel when we saw it,
Um,
but we saw it in the theaters. And this one, I was telling you, is probably my favorite of the trilogy or of the Pirates movies.
that's still true now.
Yeah, I still like it more than the first one. I'm not saying the first one's good. Don't get me wrong. But I like this one. Oh, I just dropped my headphone. I like this one more than the first one.
Oh,
Yeah, I found this one to be a lot more fun. Even though it has a mixed critical reception, has like a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes.
it just shows to go you how higher the standards were back then. Like, if this were to come out now, not that it was bad, but it would definitely get a much higher
Oh
review.
yeah, yeah. The bar is much lower now than it was back then.
The bar is deeper than Davy Jones's locker.
Yeah, which I was going to talk about the Flying Dutchman and Davy Jones in a second, but I'll give a brief synopsis. Jack Sparrow wants to find the key to Davy Jones' heart so he could control the waters pretty much, but then there's multiple people also in pursuit of the heart. Introduce the main villain, Cutler Beckett, and some nonsense ensues. Johnny Depp is being chased by the Flying Dutchman and the Kraken because he has a debt to pay to Davy Jones. And that's pretty much the synopsis of the movie. And what I love. Oh, what were you going to say?
Like other characters want the heart too, but
Yeah,
we said
everyone
that.
wants a heart for a specific reason, which we'll get into. One thing that was interesting is, do you know how the Flying Dutchman legend came to be?
I do not. Although, isn't it kind of
It's before you say anything, it's sailors seeing, the mirage effect, where
yeah?
if it's hot out, the heat will reflect off of the water, and it'll make it look like stuff is floating. So it's pretty much pirates back then looking at the horizon and seeing ships there, but because of the mirage effect, it looked like it was flying or floating.
Oh,
That's why they thought of, and then someone I guess made up the Flying Dutchman, but that's what they thought it was. They thought it was a ship floating. When reality, it was just an optical illusion.
see, because I thought the story of Davy Jones was came out in the 17 or 1800s. I mean, not that it matters much for the movie, but like I don't know if the story was around like the time the movies take place.
Probably not, but I just found it interesting. Like, huh, it was an optical illusion that fooled a bunch of people. So I like how this movie also introduces Sparrow. It's not as iconic as the first time, but he's
Yeah.
literally in a coffin, and a bird is tapping on the coffin when it's out at sea, and he shoots it, and he breaks out.
Yeah, because I always like I rewatched like I don't 'cause I didn't remember this part and I was like, what exactly is this part? Like I don't remember this and oh yeah, that's how it was introduced.
And he takes out an old wooden bone. He's like, "Sorry, mate. Mind if we take a detour?" Of course we don't.
Yeah, he's very iconic. I think you really can't recast him.
Yeah, you can't
Because I think
recast
they're
him.
trying to, but I don't think it's gonna work out.
It's gonna blow up in their face because even though we said earlier he can't really helm a movie by himself, he's still an integral part to it. Just his character, it's himself. I mean, one thing I upon rewatching it that again went over my head as a kid. I never understood as a kid why, like, what the black spot was, but it's to let the Kraken know where you are, and that's
Yeah,
why he immediately panics and goes to an island to
the
put his
Cannibal
one.
Island.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember distinctively the theater laughing when everyone's on the island and he's the chief and he has the paint over his
Oh
eyelids
yeah.
and the camera goes up to him and then his eyes open up.
That's the thing too. I think these movies have like a lot of, I guess, like visual gags, so to speak. Like not many movies, I guess, do stuff like that anymore. A lot of the
Well,
gags are
yeah.
like really annoying quips or whatever.
Yeah, the humor in these movies are more clever. They're not like, I wouldn't say low hanging fruit, but it's the easy layups for the dumb people.
The newer movies, right?
Yeah, the new movies, or I should just say newer movies in general, where there's that dumb Marvel humor.
Yeah, always like shoehorned into like almost every scene. Like nothing can be no sincerity. It's always gotta be cynical. There's gotta be cracking a joke.
Yeah, as you're saying, a lot of the humor is visual, and a lot of the humor comes from either Johnny Depp or Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah, Mr. Gibbs such an underrated character. Like he definitely he's not an important character, but I feel like he definitely helps hold things together.
But also, like, the humor is not undercut in serious moments.
Yeah, like
Like, they treat Davy Jones pretty seriously. He is a threat to be reckoned with. You don't want to cross paths with him. And he isn't saying jokes really, unless like bad jokes. He has his little quips there, but it's to not to show dominance, but it's like what did he say to he's like when once built Bootstrap lost the game of Liar's Dice. And he said like Mr. Turner, make yourself comfortable until we make port, which is not going to be for 10 years. And then he laughs.
oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm
but he's
paraphrasing, of
like
course,
yeah,
but
but that's him. Like yeah, it's not the same thing.
yeah. It's not him saying a terrible joke.
And then again, like you were mentioned before, like no one's making fun of his appearance because that's something I could see now. It's like, oh my God, who ordered the calamari or
No,
something?
they are repulsed by Davy Jones and his crew. They're not saying like, "Oh, huh,
Who ordered fish sticks?
yeah, fish." I mean, he just called him Fish Face, but it was to get his attention. But it,
Like it's like something like because I remember I saw like leaked clips from like the new Doctor Strange movie, and like they're making jokes like, "What do you got a fork on your head?" Like
yeah,
saying it's a
yeah,
black ball. That just like I hate that. Like it's become so irritating. Like you can't play a scene straight anymore. You always gotta be cracking these dumb jokes.
yeah. And the only reason why Johnny Depp was acting the way he did when he called him Fish Face is because he thought he had the heart with him and he had leverage. That's why he was acting like that. He wasn't doing that to be annoying and to crack jokes at him.
Yeah, it was more to get under his skin.
Yeah, but like, boy, they are repulsed. They're scared, especially when he's looking through the. Well, I guess we should talk about before we get into that how Johnny Depp manipulates Will Turner in this
Again.
movie. He pretty much sends him off to Davy Jones to square his debt.
Well, yeah, because he wanted his Jack's compass, and Jack was like, "Well, how about you help me first? Because I'll help you. Because what you really want to do is help me help you." And of course, he gets betrayed and screwed over.
Yeah, he gets screwed over the most in this movie.
He almost gets eaten, like almost get killed by the Kraken twice.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of feel for him at the end because he was trying to do good enough by the end. Like he was kind of telling the truth. He tells a lot of half truths.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the quote at the end of the movie. You actually were telling the truth. I do that a lot, but no one ever seems to believe me.
I guess we should also talk about what everybody wants with the heart. Jack Sparrow wants it to control Davy Jones.
Yeah, and like
So
free and get rid of his debt.
yeah, Will Turner wants it because if he stabs the heart, he will free his father, who is on the Flying Dutchman, and Norrington wants the heart because he could regain his life back.
And Beckett wants the heart because he wants to control the seas for trade, essentially.
Yeah, and to eliminate all the pirates.
Which again isn't really a bad thing, but
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he's not wrong.
because that was the thing with this movie where they tried to portray like the pirates as like freedom and like good, while the East India Trading Company as control, domineering, and bad. Which it wasn't as bad as in this one, but like I feel like the third one it became a little like
Yeah, I was gonna say
a
the
little
third one
uncomfortable.
was it was full schlock in
Like
that
no like
regards.
good pirates versus the evil East India Trading Company, which it's like I don't pirates weren't good. Like I that's why I felt like the first one it didn't make you even this one not as bad. But like the first one didn't make you as uncomfortable because again pirates weren't really noble. They were just people like almost like vultures and like trying to like pick off the scraps of vulnerable ships to survive and make money.
I was going to say, I think I saw a quote somewhere that somebody they likened the East India Trade Company to the War on Terror. I think maybe I mean I could have misread it. Let me just say that. But I think maybe that's what they were trying to uh have that connection to because it was only what this is 5 years after that. So
Yeah, it was still going on, but I'm not sure that's a good comparison.
yeah, I mean I guess I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. Again, I might have misread it, but I think I saw that where they said it's to liken them to the War on Terror.
I mean, that could be someone's interpretation, and I get why they do it from like a story perspective because it gives you something to root for. The East India Trading Company, the British Empire, or their navy is the most powerful navy in the world. It's very powerful. It can dominate people and their way of life. I get it. They're the underdogs, but I feel like with the historical context, it doesn't fully work because it's not like they were really good people. I know it's a movie, but
Well, Craig, these are Disney pirates.
yeah, they're all secretly good people.
Yeah, even like they had. That's the third one. We'll talk about the third one later. But I thought the Kraken was really cool in this movie.
Yes,
Boy, is it terrifying! And I told you the one scene where Will is on the that one ship, and then that's when they summon the Kraken to attack it.
I
Well, the
guess the first
Kraken,
ship.
the second ship, because the
Oh.
first ship it immediately sinks underwater. Second ship attacks the one where it splits in half, and then Will escapes and goes on the Flying Dutchman. That was
Oh, that's
practical.
that's what I meant. Yeah, that first ship he was
Yeah.
on.
That was entirely practical, except the mast on the ship was digitally re-added, and it was a separate element they shot too.
It's pretty
And that
cool.
really blew my mind because I was like, when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, this looks really good. I doubt it's CGI, but if it is, it fooled me. But it was practical, and they just pretty much they had like pyrotechnics inside of it, and they had these two 700 pound uh they're like giant bricks that they would just throw onto it and split it in half, and then they would CGI it in later. Really fascinating.
Yeah, because I would not have believed that. I would have assumed it was CGI or because again, like who often like who destroys stuff anymore?
Yeah, who builds actual miniatures anymore? Again,
Yeah,
this movie feels like it's like the last of its kind, where they stop doing miniatures fully. I know that weirdo Chris Nolan still does it, but majority of filmmakers don't use miniatures anymore.
even then, like, does he really use them? Because I don't. From what like the last couple movies, like,
Maybe not in Tenet, which I have not seen. Anyway, we're getting a little off track.
well, I mean, it's nice because like you don't really have these
It's
like
like that
actual
craftsmanship.
sets. Yeah. Because again, yeah, that's why I feel like with the ships too, like it really helps kind of get you into the feel of the movie because like those are actually on sea when they're filming. Like there's
Yeah,
not
they
like any
they
green
are
screen.
in the Bahamas actually filming there. Real wind, which I always like the sound of the wind going off the clothes too. And I
Yeah,
don't know,
again, it really
it
like
sounds nice.
immerses you a bit.
You really feel like you're in the 1700s in Tortuga, wherever they are, because they have the actual sets in Port Royal. Even though I think in the first one, some of the sets got destroyed from a hurricane. Or no, I think in between the first and second movie, some of the sets got destroyed from a hurricane. Might have been Katrina. I don't know, but
Ooh, that would have been unfortunate.
but that one scene with the Kraken where he split the ship in half. What a cool scene that was. And it feels the music too is so sinister, like when it just splits it in half.
Wait, that was the thing too. We need to like I forgot like the main theme for these movies is great too. The dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun. Very catchy and very iconic.
Well, it has like it has two themes. It has that theme, the pirates theme, then it has the theme for Jack Sparrow whenever he's trying to talk and he's doing something mischievous.
Was it this one or I think it was this one, right? Didn't they actually build ships this time around?
Yes. Well, I think
'Cause
they
I
did
don't
it for the first one too.
So I thought for the first one they built like part of the ship, but
I think
this
this
one
one, though, they actually built the Flying Dutchman and the Black Pearl.
it was just I think like it's insane though because today that would be maybe at best a set on a sounds like a sound stage or whatever.
Or be a set outside, but then there would be blue screen everywhere.
Yeah, like I can't imagine like a movie today like saying let's build a real ship.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't do that.
I mean, it explains why the budget's probably so high. I can't imagine that was cheap, but
Well, speaking of the CGI, then, would be remiss if we didn't talk about how great the crew looks. Davy Jones' crew.
it's really surprising how well it looks for like a 2006 movie.
Yes,
Like it's almost
everyone.
it's shocking how good it
If
is.
you saw some behind the scenes photos, I'm sure most people not by now have. Everybody on in his crew besides Bootstrap are in mocap suits, and Bill Nighy, who plays Davy Jones, he has little makeup around his eyes and mouth. But that's it. Everything else is entirely digital, which is just so insane. And to get it on an even more level of detail, when the light is shining on Davy Jones' face, it looks so realistic where it's like the skin is absorbing the light and it's lighter than the other side of his face. It's that small detail that makes it feel real and look real.
Because again, I know you could say, well, he's obviously not real, but like it's so good, especially for a time. I think that's what helps make it impressive because like this will always hold up, but the fact that it was done, at this point, over 15 years ago, is what I think really like kind of elevates it.
Yeah, it's
Because
pretty
like movies that come
crazy.
out now, like like Black Panther, and that was only 4 years ago, but that was like that CGI was terrible.
Well, all right, to kind of defend them, they were running out of time. Kind of, though. Everything else looked terrible in that movie.
Yeah,
But in
but
this movie, though, it's just really impressive. And they won an Academy Award for this movie. The
rightfully
first one
so.
did not, because it went up against Return of the King and lost.
Well, I mean, I think everything lost to that.
Yeah, that movie swept the Oscars. But yeah, this movie, uh, I
And
feel like we didn't talk a lot about the plot. We just gave a synopsis.
yeah, also, like, even like Davy Jones as a character, I thought he was great too. Like, very intimidating too for some guy who looks the way he does.
But he's not a brute. He just wants people to honor their agreement with him, and if not, he'll come after you and send you to the locker. Like he's not just Mr. I'm a bad guy who wants to do evil things for the sake of being evil. He has like
Yeah,
his own personal code that he has to hold.
if anything, you almost argue Jack's the bad guy who's trying to get out of a deal he made.
Yeah, even he's like, if you, I I
Brought the
rode the Black
pearl
Pearl
back.
for you, and for 13 years. And he's like, well, technically, I was only captain for 2. You're a poor captain, but a captain nonetheless. And I guess this movie immediately sets the plot in motion with Bootstrap when he tells Jack that you can't talk your way out of this one, and then he's coming for you, and he gives him the black spot. Immediately, we know the threat, we know what's up against Jack, but we don't know like how severe the Kraken is at that point. But boom, Jack's in danger immediately, and I think
Yeah.
that's what helps with the pacing also.
Well, not even Jack too. Like the beginning also is interrupts Elizabeth and Will's wedding.
But I don't care too much about them.
Well, I'm saying like you're saying it gets the plot gets started. Me like they immediately Will has to go hunt down Jack to get his compass.
Yes, and then they're on the island of cannibals, which is a great scene too. Even though like rewatching, I'm like, yeah, Johnny Depp would have been killed when he's tumbling
Oh
through
yeah.
all of the like hundreds and hundreds of feet. He's tumbling through bridges.
Also, too, like I feel like it's a bit, a little, I guess, not necessary. The whole sequence of them getting captured and escaping, like they
Yeah,
could have been just like marooned, but I still enjoyed it, so
it
I didn't
felt
really care
like
too much.
that sequence. It was a tad too long when they're on the island.
Yeah, it was tacked on, I guess maybe for the fun of it.
I mean, it was funny when they're in the rib cages and they're like, "How did these cages get here?" And then Gibbs says, "Like these weren't built before we were here."
Or the two crew, like they didn't have to race to get out. Like the for some reason the other crew is being stupid, like trying to race to get out, and then they get themselves killed. The snake.
Well, because they no, it was kind of a race because whoever got out first was going to take the ship and get out of there.
But I mean, they could have waited for the other crew. Like it's not like you had to leave without them.
I guess they wanted to. I don't know.
No, I mean it's just the other crew is being stupid.
Oh yeah, then that one guy grabs a snake and they fall into like a ditch and die.
It's what you get for not being a main character. Although I do think a lot of the side characters, like you said, like Mr. Gibbs was great. Forgetty and Pintail, they're always
Oh yeah,
great.
well, how can we not talk about when they're first introduced in this movie, where Rigetti is reading the Bible upside down, and he's like, "You're reading it upside down." I don't want to misquote it, but he says
He was saying like, you can't read, right? The Bible, you get credit for
yeah,
trying.
yeah. What a great line that is. And I like how Jack just ignores the fact that they just join. They just kind of just like invite themselves and join.
Yeah. I was gonna say like his other crew members, the guy with his tongue cut out, and he
Cotton,
has the parrot talk for him.
cotton.
That's his name. Oh,
Yeah,
I never knew some of these guys' names, and like the
I
short
don't
guy.
know the midget's name, but he's pretty funny too.
But yeah, it's just like their colorful cast of characters. They're always there to help Jack.
Yeah, well, like when the bird says like, "Throw him over the plank," and then Jack pulls out a gun and points it. What did the bird say?
Or even the first one, they were saying like, yeah, the parrot talks to him. We don't know how the parrot does it or how he trained it to do
Yeah,
it. They just accept the goofiness and just keep going. Don't need to dwell on it.
yeah. There would have been a terrible joke if this was Disney now about the bird or something. I don't know.
These hack writers have no creativity and everything's gotta be a stupid joke. Yeah, because right after when they escape the island of cannibals, that's when they send Will to get captured by the Dutchman. That's when he meets his father, which becomes a
Yes.
big plot point for the rest of this movie and the third movie.
Unfortunately, in the sense.
Yes, because I I don't really I get it, it's his father and all, but it's not like they were close. Like he never really knew. Like his father left when he was like a child. He left to become a pirate. It's not like he did something noble.
He
He
was
became.
asking Jack about his father in the first movie, showing how little he knew about him.
And I get it. It's his father. He wants to help him, but like he definitely goes a little above and beyond to help him.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Again, I know it's family. It just I don't see why. Like I can see why Bootstrap would feel bad. And, like that's why he helped him with the dice game, whatever. But I don't
But yeah,
know.
because he said like, "What more can you punish me with?"
Yeah. Plus, again, Will's gonna be stuck on the Dutchman for 100 years, or not 100, but a lifetime of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like that's why Will was like the weakest part. He never had much to do. Like he was, oh, I need to rescue my father. Like, oh, your father is not that great of a person.
And then they have to go to once Davy Jones says to him, "Okay, I have a proposition. 100 souls in 3 days, which pretty much means you have to farm 300 human proxies and give it to Davy Jones so you can walk free." And there's that great line where he says, like, "I wonder, Sparrow, can you live this life knowing you've sent like 100 souls to me?" Yup. Yeah,
Well, again, that's
yeah, you
that's all
go.
for show though, because he knew that if he got the heart, that he could always leverage those people back and get Will back.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
'Cause, like, some people might think he's being serious. Like, no, it's to put up a facade because he knows that he's playing the long game.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to recruit some people in Tortuga, but he wanted to go and get the heart and use it as leverage against Jones. Again, he always has a plan, which I like.
He's a schemer.
Except he did do something kind of stupid at the end, and that was when he had the jar of dirt and to put the heart in it, he dumped some of the dirt in the boat and then put the heart in. So
See, I
then,
thought that was more like an accident because he was trying to do it quickly.
oh yeah, you know, That's fair. That's fair. But I was just thinking like he should have just dumped some of it in the water, so then Norrington wouldn't know that there's something in there.
See, my biggest part of that scene with they all meet up at Isle de Cruces or whatever. Uh,
Ila Cruces or something.
yeah, why did he bring Norrington with them? Because that's the part I never really understood. Like, if you were trying to dig up the heart, you bring the two, Pintel and Rigetti, whatever. You bring Elizabeth because she's the only one that you need to find the heart. Why would you bring Norrington?
I was thinking that he probably invited himself. I don't know.
You could always say no. You're the captain.
I don't know. I didn't mind it that much because then that's where each person wants the heart for a different reason,
Yeah, the three-way sword fight.
which was fun. That was a fun scene.
Especially when they're fighting on top of the water wheel and it breaks off and starts going. And they're fighting inside of it as it's spinning. A
Yeah, I
little
like
over the top,
how
but it's fun.
how clumsy Jack is. He gets knocked out by that when he's inside the wheel. It hits him, or when he gets the key also before it crushes him, and then he gets in it. He's just walking around the graveyard, and he just falls face first into a grave.
I did think it was funny though, before that part, when both Will and Norrington like have their swords pointed to Jack ready to kill him, then continue their fight, and he goes, "You may want to kill me, but remember, I'm not the one that ruined your life.
Oh yeah.
Who helped me escape? Who stole your fiance? Wasn't me, it was him."
And he says, like, unfortunately, Mr. Turner, he's right. He's always a schemer, always quick with his words and able to wiggle out.
Yeah, he's definitely like the definition of like having a forked tongue and talk his way out of anything.
So then after that fight, uh, Norrington unknowingly, or not unknowingly to Jack, takes the heart and then runs off with the chest too to buy them time. And Jack, thinking that still has the heart, he's like, okay, let's respect his last wishes. They leave. Norrington gives the chest back to Davy Jones's crew. Jack gets on the Black Pearl with Elizabeth and Will. And then it's the final fight where it's the Dutchman versus the Pearl, but the Pearl is able to outspeed the Dutchman because with the wind, the Pearl's like the fastest ship, right? Isn't the Pearl the
Yeah,
fastest
but
ship?
yeah, because they're saying like without the wind, because I guess
That's
it's
how the
the Dutchman's
Dutchman,
unnatural.
yeah. Davy Jones sends the Kraken. Oh, I guess I forgot one part. This is when Jack realizes he doesn't have the heart because then his jar of dirt breaks and he's like,
Where's
"Where
the
is it?
thump thump?
Where's the thump thump?"
He got betrayed.
Yeah, this is when he. It's not even the worst betrayal yet for him. And Jack leaves,
Yeah.
but then he opens up his compass, seeing where he wants to go, and he points back to the pearl. We don't. The audience doesn't see that. The audience assumes. See, if this is a modern movie, it would have showed his compass pointing backwards, and then he probably would have said something like "fine." Because
Yeah,
we're
that's
not
it.
in the
Like
movie.
he would like it's a really like bad thing to do, like abandoning your crew as they're getting
Yeah,
killed
a
for you.
little scummy, but
He's a pirate. That's why like when they try to like say these pirates are like good people, it's like
so the pearl's getting attacked by the kraken, and a cool scene is when Jack comes back. They're loading up the gun barrels so they could blow it up, which could blow up their ship. I don't know why they're doing that. Remember they're loading all the kegs and lifting it up?
yeah, it's, I guess to the Kraken to kill its tentacles, but even then, like it could still break the ship.
Yeah, that was. You know, an explosion isn't just fire; it's also immense amounts of forces expelling out.
Yeah, it's like the move when you see explosions in movies, it's typically they light gas on fire and like it creates a huge like eh, ball of fire. Like most explosions, it isn't that. In fact, it's the opposite. You don't really see. You just see like the force or
Well,
the
most
pressure wave.
explosions also aren't fiery; they're like clouds of dust and energy expelling out, and then there's the shockwave.
Yeah, it's the shockwave that's really that's gonna hurt you more.
Anyway, it was really cool seeing Jack Sparrow shows up. He shoots it, and the bullet comes out, and you follow the bullet, and it goes into the barrels and blows up, injures the Kraken. And this is when Jack gets betrayed, where he says "abandoned ship," but then Elizabeth distracts him, ties him to the mast, and leaves him there as everyone else leaves Jack behind.
Yeah, and I think Will's getting upset, like, "Oh, you actually love him?" Like, no, she trapped him there to kill him.
Yeah, she because the Kraken's after Jack.
Yeah. Actually, I can't say I blame her for that decision.
No, no, no. She's 100% in the right, to do that. How many
Well,
crew
because
members died because of Jack?
I think the audience would say like, "Oh, she betrayed Jack," because everyone's favorite character is Jack Sparrow. But it's like, I don't know, how many more people need to die for him to, pay his debt?
In that situation, it was the right thing to do. And I liked how he kind of accepted it.
Yeah.
It was the noble thing to do, was just accept it and go down with the ship. And the movie ends. Well, and then Davy
Although,
Jones realizes he doesn't have the heart. Then Norrington gives the heart to Beckett, and then they realize that Barbossa's alive. Then the movie ends.
and it ends.
But I really like this movie. It did not feel like it's 150 minutes long. It flowed pretty well.
I did want to say that you missed the joke when they were filling up the powder kegs or the barrels of
Oh, the
powder.
rum.
Yeah. Okay, there's not enough powder. What about the rum?
Aye, the rum too.
Like, I love they all have to stop to really seriously consider this.
Like the whole any scene with the Kraken is really cool and well done.
It's a real threat. Like they all could really die at a moment's notice.
Yes, it's very cool. And one thing that I realized is that throughout the whole trilogy, this is the only movie where Jack Sparrow is the captain of the Black Pearl for the whole duration. The only
Oh
movie.
yeah, now that you mention it. Is this including like the fourth or fifth one?
I don't think
Or
he
is the at
has
least
it.
a trilogy, right?
Yeah, and definitely the trilogy, but I don't think he has it in the fourth one. I think it's like in a bottle. No, yeah, he doesn't have it in the fourth one. What are you talking about?
I was just curious because I have seen the fourth one in theaters when it came out, but that
Yeah,
was
that was over 10
11
years
years
ago.
ago now, and I don't really remember much. There was like mermaids, Barbosa. That doesn't matter.
Barbossa had like a peg leg.
Yeah, he's working for the
The
Royal
black
Navy.
beard.
Yeah, and that woman who like had the past with him or whatever.
That's Blackbeard's daughter. I did
Yeah,
not see the
yeah.
fifth one though. I've never seen that.
I heard that was really bad.
Yeah, but this one's pretty good. I would recommend it.
I recommend it too because it didn't like it still felt like kind of like an adventure movie, like the first one. It wasn't obviously it's not the same thing, which no movie should be, but it was enough to separate and feel similar to at the
And
same
I
time.
like Davy Jones as a villain more than Barbossa. Not that Barbossa was bad, but I thought Davy Jones was more threatening, and he was just more likable because I kind of like Davy Jones too.
Yeah, I feel like Davy Jones is more likable. I feel like from a story perspective, Barbosa works better.
Oh yeah, Barbossa isn't some disgusting monster.
Well, because the conflict was a little more personal as opposed to Jack trying to run away from debt.
Yeah, that's true. But I like Dead Man's Chest the most.
Yeah,
So
apparently
like,
that's a is
oh,
that slightly a hot? I don't think that's much of a hot take. I think that's
I
pretty
think
much
a lot of
people's
people
favorites.
like it. A lot of people probably don't agree with the 53%. It has a 7.3 on IMDb, so it's well liked enough. I
Yeah,
liked
'cause
it when I
if you're gonna
saw it
pick
in
a favorite, it's gonna be
theaters.
the one of the first two. It's not gonna be
Yes,
the third.
saying like the first or second one is your favorite of the pirate movies is not a hot take. It's probably the most widely accepted answers, I would imagine. So let's get to the third one. No, called Pirates of the Caribbean: At World's End. At World's End and Dead Man's Chest were filmed back to back, I believe.
I guess that was the thing in the early to mid 2000s.
Yes, and this one is confusing,
Yeah, this is where it starts
and
to get a
it's
little too
it's a
weird for its own
giant
good.
mess, I would say. It's
Yeah,
169 minutes long. It's a very long movie, and I remember we watched this in theaters, and as a kid, I had no idea what was going on.
yeah. I was confused by all the stuff like the pirate court government.
Yes, so let's get into the general plot. So what they really want to do is just get Jack out of the locker and then fight against Cutler Beckett, who seized control of Davy Jones because he has the heart. So he makes Davy Jones go around. and destroy all the pirates and just kill everybody.
Which again, it's not the worst thing to do in the world, but a little extreme getting like Davy Jones to do your dirty work. But neither here nor there.
But then Beckett learns of the pirate brethren, and he knew about it because he wanted the people in the beginning who were being hung to sing the song that calls out to them or whatever. Remember that? Oh, that was so strange.
Oh, calls out. I thought they were just saying it because they
Well,
were
that's how I guess I don't know. It was something I had to look up on Wikipedia.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
that
it's
was
to
just.
compel the nine pirate lords to convene at Shipwreck Cove to hold the brethren court.
Oh, I thought it was just a song of solidarity. Like we're
No,
about to get killed. Let's
it's
one last
to
middle finger.
no, it's to get the pirate lords to do the court thing. See, you didn't even know that.
I don't know how I missed that then. I thought it was just to sing in
It was right at the
solidarity.
beginning of the movie, Craig.
No, I remember them singing, but I guess I assumed it was just as like in solidarity. You're about to get killed. That's little middle finger to the people about to kill you. That's what I thought.
Okay, so I'm looking at the. I don't remember this in the movie, but the only reason why they want to get Jack out of the locker is because he never named a successor for him.
That I did get. Like that's why they brought back Barbossa and Jack to get their pieces of the 9 pieces of 8 to free
Right,
Calypso.
right. But I thought they just want. I thought they would just want to get him because they wanted him back.
No, they needed his piece because they couldn't even take it from his body.
Yeah.
'Cause I think they actually said in the movie like we couldn't just take it from your body. Like we had to actually get your body. Because it wasn't too like did anybody save me just because they missed me? And
Oh yeah,
what was
some
it
of the
like
crew did like hot.
Intel and Rigetti raised their hand like I'm staying with them
Yes.
because yeah I think they would have killed them
But
if
the thing is, I mean, I guess at the end of the second one, they're more remorseful at the fact that Jack is gone.
yeah.
But I was under the impression that at the end of the second one, like once they saw Barbosa, they must have figured there has to be a way to get Jack back. It had nothing to do with getting the pieces, but now in this one, they want to get the pieces, the 9 pieces of 8, right?
So as I was watching this, I felt like this kind of ran into the same issue as like Infinity War and Endgame, where they knew how to write a good ending for the first one, but couldn't figure out how to end the second one of a two-parter.
Right.
Sort of. Like they knew how they knew I guess how they wanted to set up the structure, but I feel like at the end of the first one, they didn't figure out how to like properly tell the rest of the story of
Well,
a
when you're saying the
two-parter.
first and second one, I'm assuming you're referring to Dead Man's Chest and this.
Yeah, because this is a two-parter.
Yes, because they probably knew outlining it that all right, Jack's gonna get taken by the Kraken into Davy Jones' locker, and in the next movie they're gonna have to break him out. Why? Because we can't just kill off Johnny Depp. Because this is
Yeah,
when he was at the height of his career, Johnny Depp. So
yeah, and like this is probably everyone's like favorite character. I mean, we were talking, so we're so high of him. Like it's pretty everyone's favorite character of these
yes,
movies.
so everyone's telling the writers we can't kill him off. We have to bring him back. Okay, how? Oh well, they're gonna have to go into the locker. Why? They have to get the 9 pieces of 8
Why?
so they could do the
To
Brethren
free
Court.
Calypso.
So yes, they could do the Brethren Court and free Calypso. Why? So they could fight the bad guys at the end.
You're losing me, but I guess we're kind of in too deep now.
Yes. Who's Calypso? She's that creepy dreadlock girl from the second movie.
Like the black
Reincarnating
coming
her.
out of her teeth.
Yeah, that was really gross.
Yeah, because again, like they're
Yeah,
trying to equate pirates with freedom, but then they have this, so they have their own like mini government. Like, what's the point?
well, like what you were saying, we'll go into that. But they had plot points, but they didn't know how to connect them. They didn't, or at least they didn't have a concrete plan to connect them. They just had these beats, and they're okay. How we're gonna get from point A to point B? That's what it felt like. Connect the dots, kind of, but like kind of bad.
Something got lost along the way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would have been better if they just had Dead Man's Chest be just about Davy Jones, Jack getting out of his debt, as opposed to having it be a two-parter. I know Davy Jones is great and all, but I feel like just trying to extend, because he was barely in this one. Like it was just about the East India Trading
Well,
Company.
not only was he not in it too much, but he was being controlled, and him as a threat was neutralized because this small British guy is pretty much has him eating out of his hand. He's controlling him
Yeah.
that badly. Like he
He even killed the Kraken.
yeah, he made Davy Jones kill the Kraken, which
Or I think he said, I killed you, have to get rid of your pet.
yeah, the Leviathan. And it's like, could you imagine if they had like, why would he have him kill the Kraken? That'd be doing twice the work. The Flying Dutchman can go after ships, and the Kraken can go after other ships. Why?
My guess is that that's something Davy Jones could always use to like quickly kill somebody. Like, say they ever take the chest off the Flying Dutchman, then the Kraken could quickly destroy that
Yeah,
ship and
that's
take
probably
the.
true.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I know that's what they thought of, but that's what I would do.
It's kind of lame after how awesome the Kraken is, but maybe it was also like, all right, what do we do with this thing? It was kind of like a plot device in the second one. What
But
do we
again,
do
it
with it
worked
here?
because it fit the world.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I feel like this whole movie, like a lot of the stuff was just like contrived or just not thought out well or just not as great.
yeah. Okay, so then let's break it down. Let's break it down. So that's the beginning where they have to get the 9 pieces of 8 because Jack Sparrow never appointed a successor to him prior to being dragged in. So then they go to Singapore to meet the other captain, who is a pirate lord, and he owns some chart to the locker. Right? Am I getting that
Which
right
is
so far?
Yeah, which is kind of weird why a man in Singapore would have it, but whatever.
So Will again, I think he's the worst part of this movie. Not he's the worst character. Okay, let me say it that way.
Main character.
One of the worst main characters. Yes, he wants to. So he secretly promises to hand over Jack to the pirate lord in Singapore, so he can
And I
get the
think the
pearl.
Dutchman too, right?
Yeah, so he can get the
Oh,
pearl
the Pearl.
and get his father from the Flying Dutchman. So then, one of the most bizarre scenes is we first see Johnny Depp in this movie, a close up on his nose, sniffing something.
Yeah, because he's losing his mind. Like the whole, like that's the thing too. This movie, like he's constantly talking to himself because he's definitely got a little loopy,
Well,
more so than usual.
I can excuse him losing his mind in the locker because I imagine it's just I don't even know what that would be like. It's just probably the one constant long day. He doesn't even know he's in the locker. He's probably thinking he's just hallucinating.
Yeah,
So I don't mind that. It's when he's talking to himself later on in the movie where it's just like, all right, does he
like
give you the straight jacket?
they even have straitjackets back then for, I guess, committed people.
Yeah, probably not. Probably just shoot them in the head. So they have to go into uh, the locker, and
That's the
they
thing too. I
they
don't think
go
they
down.
specified.
They like go down a certain sea, certain
I think.
waterfall, and
Well,
that's
I
how they
was
end up in
thinking.
it, right?
Yeah, because like I was trying to think, like, the entrance to Davy Jones' locker is like in the Antarctic or the Arctic. I didn't specify where,
Probably.
which is which is kind of funny because I don't think Antarctica wasn't discovered yet. And I don't think people had explored the Arctic Ocean yet either. I mean, again, not that it matters for the movie, but just more from what I know.
Yeah, which is nothing.
Well, no, because like it's hard to navigate cold waters because there's ice. You can't get like a wooden ship through there.
Yeah. So I mean, they clearly didn't care in this movie.
Yes, they pirate lords. Just one thing real quick.
Yes.
So I checked the Wikipedia after because that's usually what I do for these reviews, just to see if I missed something. Apparently, Barbossa's the pirate lord of the Caspian Sea. Do you know where the Caspian Sea is?
No.
It's a landlocked sea in between the Caucasus and like Kazakhstan and the Eurasian steppe. There was no way at that time period to get from the Caspian Sea to the world's ocean. How is a pirate lord of the Caspian Sea? I have no idea
So
why.
who's the pirate of like the Caribbean Sea? Is that Jack?
That's Jack, actually.
Oh yeah, pirate. Oh yeah, it says it right there. Pirate Lord of the Caribbean Sea.
I was like, the Caspian Sea, like, there's no way to get to the ocean from there. Like, even the Black Sea, you could get through Constantinople or Istanbul, whatever, to get to the Mediterranean and through the Strait of Gibraltar. But I don't know. It's not a big deal because I read on the Wikipedia page. When I read that, I was like, they not know that you can't do that?
Right.
It's just very, very weird that like why they would include that.
So while they're in the locker, they rescue Jack. They get the pearl too, and when they're about to leave, they see Elizabeth's father, who was killed off screen by Beckett or whatever that guy Mercer, the other
Which I
guy.
thought that was weird too. Like why he just killed him. Like
Well,
there's no
they
reason
said
to.
he like knew too much about the chest.
Yeah, but it's like they established in the first two movies, like he is a governor. Like you just can't murder a governor like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I
You,
don't know.
like they were saying too, how he has a great pull with the King of England. I can't imagine the king would be okay if you just like killing a friend for I don't know. I know it's a movie, but
And
it felt very weird.
and in this movie too, they mentioned numerous times that you kill the heart, you become the captain. But they already said that in the second movie. They
Oh,
said
I
that
guess
multiple
so.
times.
I guess that was to set up the ending.
Oh, I guess. But like they to okay, so to return back into the normal world, they have to before sunrise or before sunset, they have to rock the ship, make it go upside down, and then once it hits sunset, the ship will rise up, and then they're back into the normal waters.
Yeah, I didn't get it. It just I guess felt like a weird way to escape. Something I guess only Jack could figure out.
Which, how would the Kraken do that? Would the Kraken have to go through this process every time? It dragged them to the locker. I don't
Well,
know. It's
Jack
not
was
important.
eaten and the Black Pearl was destroyed. I assume that's like I don't know, you get sent there like magically.
Yeah, you're probably
Like
right.
Jack's body got I don't know. I didn't think about that too much
It
because
doesn't really
obviously it's
matter.
not meant to, yeah.
Okay, so next, Jack goes on Beckett's ship because that's well before that, right? Isn't Elizabeth? Okay, the guy from Singapore, his ship is attacked by Beckett's men and he's killed. So then he promotes Elizabeth, who is on the ship, to captain. So now
Yeah.
she's in his place as a pirate lord. And then uh, Jack goes on Beckett's ship and tells them that they're going to meet at Pirate Cove uh, in exchange about my freedom. And then, God, it's not It's like so much happens, and then it's not explained why something happens. It just happens.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, of course, like you mentioned, like Elizabeth, how they got captured by the Flying Dutchman. Like Norrington feels bad for the pirates. I mean, considering how much he hated pirates and that pirates ruined his life, why would you all of a sudden feel bad for choosing the quote unquote wrong side?
well, it's because Elizabeth is there. I think. I don't think he cares. If it was everybody else besides Elizabeth, I don't think he would care.
But like, considering how much, again, like how much pirates have ruined his life, like why would he all of a sudden feel bad?
I don't know.
Like he gets killed for his
He gets
betrayal.
killed by Bootstrap, who is losing his mind because he's becoming literally part of the ship.
Part of the ship, part
Yeah.
of the crew.
Okay,
I
so
don't like
let's talk
that's so
about
contrived.
let's talk about Jack's plan. And I feel like it's a little too convoluted, his own little plan, because it's a lot of double crossing to get what he wants.
Which is immortality.
Yes, well he
It
wants.
wasn't obvious enough.
Well, yeah, he wants immortality, and he in the movie also he was considering. Well, to achieve immortality, he would become captain of the Flying Dutchman. So he wants the heart, and he wants to kill Davy Jones. That's all he really wants in the movie. But to get that is a little messy, a little, you know, so much.
Yeah, because he talks to Beckett to go to the Brethren Court so then he could get the Pirate Lords to agree to go to war. So then they would get him onto the Flying Dutchman. So on the Dutchman, he would steal the heart and then stab it to become the new captain of the
Well,
Dutchman.
you're forgetting also that the reason why they don't do like democratic votes in
Oh yeah.
is because everyone would vote for themselves. So he votes for Elizabeth so she can declare war on Beckett's men with the Brethren Court.
Yeah, because apparently only a pirate king can declare war.
Yeah. So then they Barbossa, Elizabeth, and Jack go to meet Beckett, Davy Jones, and Will. And Jack planned for him and Will to switch spots so he could go with them, so then he could be in the Flying Dutchman and take the chest and kill Davy Jones. So Elizabeth shipping him off was always in his plan.
I just gotta mention the gag of Davy Jones having to like stand in a
Oh
pot
yeah,
of or bucket of
he's in a
water.
barrel.
It's because he can't set foot on land, but I guess a bucket of water on land is okay.
Yeah, sure,
Which I
why not?
feel like, but I feel like that could get easily abused. But
You
whatever.
could literally put him in a bathtub and wheel him around.
Could you imagine?
So after that, Barbossa wants to free Calypso because
Well, he
reasons?
promised that to her because she revived him.
Right. So once Calypso is released, she summons a whirlpool in the middle of the waters between all the pirate lords and the British Army or British Navy. And how is that helping anybody?
Well, because I think she was mad at the Pyre Lords because they said like the first Brethren Court bound her into a human form, so she's mad at them for trying for her bounding them, and she's mad at Davy Jones for not doing his job. So I guess she didn't pick a side, sort of.
But then she screwed over Davy Jones, though.
Well, she's mad at both, so I guess
Yeah.
both get screwed.
So then, one step giant whirlpool is in the middle of the oceans. Black Pearl and the Dutchman battle, and during all this big fight, Will asks Elizabeth to marry him. Barbossa marries them.
That's where it felt like a little. I get why they wanted to get married because they could die, which one of them does die, but it's like
We're not
really
there
right
yet.
now
We're
you.
not there yet.
But I'm just saying more when they try to get married, it's like really choose right now. Even Barbosa makes that joke, like really right now.
Well,
Like it
Jack.
felt out of place.
I guess we forgot to mention in the first movie, there's these two idiots who
Oh,
are easily you can easily manipulate them and get them to argue with each other. Those two idiots are protecting the chest in this movie, or they have like two cannons pointed at it. Jack easily distracts them, takes the chest. He runs into
it was
Davy
like
Jones,
comical.
and Davy Jones and Jack fight. And then Jack even this is kind of like not clever, but a little funny how he gets him to reveal the key. When they're battling, he's like, "That chest is no use. You don't have the key." Huh? Yes, I do. And then Davy Jones with his little weird tentacles pulls out the key. He's like, "No, you don't." And then Jack slices it.
Well, he did that too before with Beckett. He was like searching his room to try to find the heart. He's like, the heart's not here, idiots on the Dutchman. Like Jack was, you think Jack's being dumb, but he's actually got him
Yeah,
to
he's
reveal
actually
where the heart was.
yeah, he's really smart, and he's able to manipulate and get info out of people in subtle ways. It honestly, like, this is maybe a little stretch of a connection, but it feels like a police interrogator that is like manipulating people into revealing information. He's the interrogator in a way because he's kind of in control and he's able to easily get info in
Like
subtle
it
ways.
never feels like he's in control. That's like the kicker. The other person always feels like they're in control, but they never really are.
Yeah, he's like a police interrogator. He's a detective. So long story short, Will gets stabbed by Davy Jones, and then Jack, who's about to stab the heart, puts the blade into Will's hand and then makes Will stab the heart so he can survive.
Like kind of gruesome scene where they all the crew walks towards his
Oh
dead
yeah, the
body to cut
body.
his heart out.
Yeah, right.
It's like ugh. He
And
got like the nasty scar in his chest, which healed pretty quickly.
yeah, really. It's like a little cut. So then after that, the Dutchman rises out of the water, and the Pearl and the Dutchman fight against the Endeavor, which is Beckett's ship, and they kill Beckett, which makes the Navy retreat.
But well, like that's kind of funny too. Like the Navy would not retreat, but
I mean, it's just two
whatever,
pirate
just the
ships.
movie.
Yeah, it's two
Because like they're like
damaged pirate
massively out,
ships.
yeah, and they're massively outnumbered in the Royal Navy. They're coordinated. They are a military. They can fight off like a 2-to-1
It was
advantage.
like 40, 50 ships.
Yeah, and they were like 10, maybe
Yeah,
20.
they weren't gonna survive. But that's okay. It's a movie.
Yeah, no,
Will
it's a movie.
leaves
But
for the Dutchman, leaving Elizabeth behind. And at the end, Jack realizes that Barbossa stole the Black Pearl, but he knew this would happen because he cut out a big piece of the chart, and he's going to track down the Fountain of Youth, which is the fourth movie. But
I like how he knew he was gonna get betrayed already. Like he did, like he pretended to care a little bit, but he knew that he was probably gonna get betrayed.
yeah, and it was just him and Gibbs again, which was nice. And then the movie ends.
Oh, you forgot when Beckett died, how like the whole thing was collapsing around him. He was just like almost like in shock that he lost.
Oh yeah, that was a cool
Kind of
scene.
a yeah.
It's
And it's
just
like my plan didn't
nice.
go according to plan.
And then the movie's over. And
And on to the next adventure.
yes, but is it a bad movie? No.
It's
It's
like just really messy.
it's confusing in some parts. And I only remembered some of this because I'm looking directly at the Wikipedia page. Because a lot happens in 169 minutes, really like 159, probably 10 minutes of credits. But so much happens in 2.5 hours. It's hard to
It,
keep track of who's doing what and why they're doing what.
because also the interest dumb stuff like the Brethren Corps and like having to free Calypso. And then even then, like I guess the main villain Beckett isn't that great of a villain. Like there's nothing really great about him. He's just some short businessman.
Who's just trying to enforce law into the seas.
Like hardly a very driving force to stop him. 'Cause you're like, oh, he's gonna end all piracy, and it's like, that really a bad thing? Is
Bad
it
thing
bad?
for Jack Sparrow, but
Yeah, yeah. That's why I feel like that's another like knock against the movie. Like there's hardly a villain, and even like the villain they do have is it's hard to really be against them. Because again, they try to equate piracy with like freedom and him with like oppressive rule, but it's like it's not. I guess for the movies, it's how it is, but in real life, that's not how it is, which makes it hard to cut. It's like an odd juxtaposition, especially with how it was in historical.
juxtaposition,
Yeah.
juxtapose. It's also they take Davy Jones, who was great in the second movie, and they make like Beckett bully him and push him around. It's you take such a good villain, he kind of becomes a joke. It's
I
kind of
guess the
like
only
it's like the Transformers movies where Megatron is such a
in
threat
the
in the
third
first
one.
movie,
Yeah.
and by the third one he's a joke. He's like rusting. He's a giant joke. Not
Yeah.
as severe as that case or that example, but still feels like he's kind of a joke. They don't, he's controlled by somebody else and he's just bullied.
That's why you almost wish that the Dead Man's, like I said before, just not having be a two-parter. Like you can still have your trilogy, but maybe the third one's just a different adventure. Because
Yes.
I feel like a lot of this stuff just doesn't work. You could have ended in the first one.
Yeah, and then Will, I did not like Will in this movie too much because he
Yeah,
kept
like
on every time he was speaking, every scene he was in, he would at least say once, "I have to free my father, who's trapped on the Flying Dutchman."
I
Like I
promised
get
my
it,
father
I
I would free
get
him.
it. Stop.
I guess you feel bad for his father because he's slowly losing his mind pretty quickly, but it's like I don't know. Again, like I said before, like his father wasn't like a great person that you feel bad for. Like he abandoned his family.
Yeah, and then they threw him over. They
Yeah, pretty
strapped him
horrific
to
like
a
way to
cannon.
yeah.
and dragged him to the bottom of the ocean. Unlucky mate. But I would not. Maybe I would recommend it. Maybe
I don't
I
know.
would probably give it a solid 50 out of 100. Solid in the middle.
I guess, if you want to see this, if you see the second one, you want to know what happens to Jack. I guess just know ahead of time that he will survive, and maybe don't watch the third one if you don't have to.
It's not bad, but it's not good. It's thoroughly in the middle.
Yeah,
This isn't comforting, but it's better than the next two movies. Which again,
have
I
you?
have not seen the fifth one.
I was about to say because I think yeah, we think we both saw the fourth one, but I
Yeah, we
have
saw it in
not seen the fifth
theaters.
one.
Which I guess we should mention quickly. The fourth one's the most expensive movie ever made.
Wait, really?
Yeah, this movie had a budget of 300 million, but Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides had a net budget of 378 and a total budget of 410.
Jesus.
And this was 2011. This was 2011.
Is that because they built more ships?
I don't know why it's this much. It's so expensive. I wonder. I'm looking at a list. I wonder if it's going to take into account inflation. I wonder how much it would be with inflation.
Especially with this
Oh,
economy. Then
456 million inflated for 2022 money. And Age of Ultron is actually the second most expensive movie. And then
really?
at World's End's the third movie, third most expensive. Its inflated budget's 392.
I mean, I do feel like having the real ships and sets definitely helps with the movie. So I guess money well spent, but I don't know, man. 400 million.
456 million.
Oh, that's even, oh God.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's the most expensive movie ever made, but we're not going to be talking about that because I've only seen that movie once. That was in
Same.
2011, and I just
I know
remember
that,
from that movie there's a voodoo doll of Johnny Depp and they throw it off a waterfall to see if he would survive, and he does.
yeah, there's then again, the Fountain of Youth, Blackbeard.
Not interesting stuff.
Yeah. And I know there was talks of a sixth one, but I know that's not going to happen anymore
Oh,
because,
that's 100% not happening.
well, yeah, because you heard in the trial he's not going back to Disney because they screwed him, so rightfully so. Stick up for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think he's hurting for money.
Also, too, I mean, I feel like with like declining quality of the movie, that's like how much
Yes, I
like
would
really need a sixth
imagine
one.
he'd want to return.
But I did look this up because I didn't know this. In the fifth one, the end credits scene
Oh,
is
David
Davy
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah,
So I guess maybe they had a plan to bring all of them back. I don't know what you would do, but I don't know.
I thought it was pretty concrete that he died, but whatever.
Although I did see also they want to have like a female spin-off, which I think sounds horrible.
Well, it's probably
So
again. You need the Pirates movie are identified with Johnny Depp. It's like you can't really have an Indiana Jones movie without Harrison Ford. They're kind of hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. That's probably why it's going to fail. Because you need Jack Sparrow. You need him. He's iconic to the franchise. He, in some regards, he is the franchise. He's the most famous character from it.
oh no, I agree 100%. It's just like yeah, sometimes people just can't let things die, you know? Like it's got to have all these millions of sequels and spin-offs and it's like this wasn't meant to be like this mega franchise.
Yeah, but it did, and you got
Well, I
two
mean,
good movies out of it.
you made your first trilogy fine. Fourth one, okay. By the time we got to the fifth one, it's like, all right, the character is like in his 50s. It's like, all right,
Well,
maybe
Johnny
we
Depp
should
is almost
stop.
60 now, so
It's just I feel like at some point you need to stop.
yeah, and maybe one day I'll watch the fifth one. I doubt it. And maybe one day we'll review the next two movies. I
You
doubt it.
guys, yeah, not gonna happen. Now, somehow they release a sixth one, then I guess that would be fitting. But
But I don't have much else to say about the third one, other than yeah, maybe see it. Middling grade from me, a 50.
although I guess looking at the whole trilogy, there was something that which I thought was kind of surprising because although we were talking about how great Jack Sparrow was, he really, like we said, he really can't carry a movie because like all of his motivations for every movie is like extremely simple. Like, he's entertaining to watch, but I don't think you have a movie with just him in it. You need like a lot of other characters to help balance him out.
And also have a lot of characters that he can manipulate to get what he wants.
Yes, because like the first one, all he wants is a ship back. Second one, all he wants is the chest, and the third one, he wants to get immortality by stabbing the heart.
Yes, that's he's very simple what he wants.
Which again, it's fine. It's not like it's a bad thing, but like that's why he can't really. I feel like be the only like main character. Like you need a lot of other characters to balance him out. Like you said, be able to manipulate.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Again, because it's one of things you look back on. You think, oh, he was great. He carried the movie when he had a great performance, but I wouldn't say like he could be like shouldering the movie on his back.
I agree.
Do you?
I do. It's like what some people say with Johnny Depp. He's not a good actor. He's a good performer. Some people say.
Some people don't think so.
But yeah, I think they're not boring, these movies. Even the third one, it wasn't boring. It was entertaining, and at
A
least
little bit
these
confusing.
three. Well, the third one's confusing, but it
Yeah.
feels like the end of an era where there's these big, large, practical sets. They film on location. They don't do that anymore. So it was nice to see. Also, this was when Disney wasn't some horrible nightmare.
Yeah, started acquiring all these franchises and like, let's make endless sequels and spin-offs and your franchise will never die. They'll grow up with you.
Yeah, but it was nice to rewatch these movies. So
Back from a simpler time.
when the world made sense. But I think that'll do it for today. Any final thoughts, Craig? Better hurry up.
No, like I said, their first one's I think is the best. Second one's pretty good. Third one,
Confusing.
so.
Yeah, confusing mess. I agree. I like the second one more though, so I would say that. First
Very
one's still very.
contrarian over here.
Shut up. First one's still very good. Third one is confusing. Maybe don't watch it. But that's all the time we have. This has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin,
I'm Craig.
and yeah, it's our episode.
Bye.